Good evening. I'm calling to order the special meeting of the Board of Education. Today is Monday, January 27th, and we are meeting at the Fordyce Building. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Sudar, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mrs. DeAngelis.
Here.
Mrs. Lysy.
Here.
Mrs. Sudar, here. Mrs. Thomas.
Here.
Mrs. Van Ho.
Here.
All present.
Okay, our treasurer is out ill this evening. So at this time, I need to take a motion to make Mrs. Sudar I'll make the motion for Mrs. Sudar to be the treasurer pro tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. DeAngelis. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Van Ho.
Yes.
Mrs. DeAngelis.
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas.
Yes.
Mrs. Lysy.
Yes.
Mrs. Sudar. Yes.
Okay, thank you. At this time, is there any public participation relative to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to recognitions. Mr. Bell.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, we're going to walk over here to the podium. Accompany me. Madam President, members of the board, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome our guests this afternoon, and they are a part of the Euclid firefighters that helped us with Operation Warm project, and I'm going to read the resolution. I'm going to ask for a motion to recognize these individuals here in just a second, but I just want to give you a little bit of background information through our resolution. Whereas Coats for Kids Cleveland, having received over $100,000 in donations, funded an effort to keep local children warm in the distribution of winter coats, and whereas Euclid Firefighters Local 337 teamed up with Operation Warm to distribute these coats to children in need, and whereas on November 19, 2013, Bill Mastrani and volunteers from the Euclid Fire Department handed out the colorful brand new American-made coats to children in kindergarten through 4th grade at Shoreview Elementary and kindergarten through 3rd grade at Bluestone Elementary. Now therefore be resolved that the Euclid Board of Education extends its appreciation to Lieutenant Mastrani and the Euclid Fire Department volunteers for their caring spirit and for giving their time to Operation Warm and the students of Euclid City Schools. So, Madam President, members of the board, I ask for your recommendation on this resolution.
Is there a motion? Mrs. Lysy, second?
Second.
Mrs. DeAngelis. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Lysy.
Yes.
Mrs. Sudar. Yes. Mrs. Thomas.
Yes.
Mrs. Van Ho.
Yes.
Mrs. DeAngelis.
Yes.
Thank you. Lieutenant Mastrani, would you bring your team up, and we'd like to present you with this certificate of appreciation. It's just a small token for what you've done for our children, so we just appreciate you so very much. Go ahead and come up here. So we get you on camera.
Get you up there.
I think they need applause. I mean, there's only Do you want to introduce the team?
Sure, yes, thank you.
As Superintendent Bell said, I'm Lieutenant Mastriani from the Euclid Fire Department, Assistant Chief Chris Haddock, Firefighter Paul Unger, Firefighter Billy Kunchik, and Firefighter Randy Potts. There were 15 other individuals that helped us out that day. It really was a great effort by all to be able to see the smiles on the kids' faces, to hand out 800 brand new American-made jackets to the needy kids and children. The community gives to us, and it was just one way for us to give back to the community. Our goal next year is to double the allotments of jackets and get between 1,500 and 2,000 jackets out to more of the schools and the needy children in our community.
And we just want
Smile.
to,
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Lieutenant Mastriani, we thank you for all of what you've done. The board thanks you, and our kids definitely thank you. I see them in the jackets and coats all the time, so it's very, very much appreciated. And we thank all of you for your support with Euclid City Schools. So thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time out tonight. Thank you.
We can ever tell you, let us know.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Don't ask us to
really
put out a
appreciate
fire because we will not be able to.
You never know.
forward-looking. Thanks for taking time.
Okay, we're going to move on then to some presentations. This being our special meeting, we focus on the operations of the school district. So, turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. We have two presentations that we're happy to give you tonight. The first one being human capital, and we're going to give you an update on where we stand with the comprehensive human capital program under the very able leadership of Mrs. Sue Maroney. I'm going to ask Mrs. Maroney to come to the podium to make her presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I'm not an expert in technology, though. Madam President, members of the board, thank you for this opportunity to give you a human resource and human capital update. I thought my report, giving you my report in 3 segments. One is the human resource development and planning, to give you a better understanding of the department and my perspective on human resources. The second part is where we were, where we are, and where we're going. And the third part will be the overview of our human capital. But first we need to identify who we are and what we do. We are the Euclid City Schools. We're a business. As many companies work through, we strive to promote a culture and atmosphere for our students that's conducive for learning. What is our product? Our product is the success of our students, academically and socially. We want to provide them and be them prepared and college and career ready. And our greatest asset is our human capital, our employees. It starts with human resource development, starts with planning. Human resources is the nucleus to any organization. When you're looking at the people, somebody has to pull all that together. Somebody has to feel the heartbeat of the district and the community. My responsibility is to monitor the heartbeat of the staff, the heartbeat of the community. Do we have the right people in the right places? Constantly thinking, what can we do, what can we improve upon to support our business's strategic objectives, which are our 3 goals. And we're also the department that if anybody wants to know anything, they say call HR. We have basic key functions and responsibilities, but within these, the foundation is the change agent. The Human Resources Department has to be the change agent. Again, the nucleus. Whatever is occurring in the district, how can we get that out to our people? We can't stand still. We have to constantly be moving forward. We need to try to stay ahead of the game and be a district of choice, not only for the families moving to Euclid, but the families that are in Euclid to choose the Euclid City Schools as the choice. The responsibility in my department is to make sure that the change is communicated to the employees, that the change is made, and that the change is accepted by the employees and the community as well. And I give it to you in that order because all too often we have change, but we don't communicate that change until after the fact. The foundation of a lot of what I'm giving you here tonight is taking a proactive approach instead of a reactive approach. All too often we lay something out and then we pick up the pieces and how can we do something better. So I bring to you the where we were, where we are, and where we are going. The past, the Human Resources Department was managed by an assistant superintendent. Primary focus, of course, is on the curriculum instruction. That's where their training and their knowledge base is. This regularly, as I mentioned, put the Human Resource Department in a reactive mode. Currently, your department is operated by a human resources professional. My experience, coupled with my training that I've received in human resource practices, provides the district with the opportunity to have a stronger focus on the development of the district. My purpose is still to provide the students with where did I go? Managing the human capital of our company to be in a better position to provide the right people and environment to attain success. Where's the future? Like I said, stay ahead of the competition, being the change agent, striving to be the district of choice, and helping to build a better brand, culture, and climate that's desired for our educational professionals. We want the educational professionals as well to pick Euclid as a district of choice. So where are we going with all of this? The key focus areas are recruiting, retention, sustainability, and succession planning. Within these areas, I'd like to strengthen our recruiting program, reach out further. There's a lot of competition out there. We need to stay ahead of the competition. By a lot of the early planning that we've been doing this year, we have and will have within the next few weeks a good idea of what our needs are. We can get out there and get the best of the best. Reviewing the outsourcing of our subs. Are we achieving the positive rewards with the savings and services, and do those outweigh the losses that we're obtaining with that? Which in my mind is, we don't know the subs. They aren't our employees. Are we losing a feeder system there? Weighing those two options. Being proactive in every approach. As I mentioned earlier about feeling the heartbeat of the staff. Doing surveys throughout, finding out how the employees are enjoying their experience here, our new employees. We conducted a survey, and I'll show you some of those results in a bit. Are we on the right track, or are we going to wait till the exit interview to find out what we should have done? I want to assess our hiring process. We use an online screener and a structured interview process. These are all best practices that have been outlined. Are we achieving the success that we want with them? Validate those tools that we're using. I want to build a better culture of employee engagement and trust. It's proven that successful companies, the reason they're successful is because they have a high-performing workforce. The main reason for that is the employee engagement and trust. We need to provide better supervisor training. We're always talking about the training of the teachers. We need to be able to manage our employees better. Providing some supervisory training so that they can conduct their staff in a forward movement. And then succession planning. We've somewhat looked at that in the past, but really identify not just the key pieces with the leadership, but all the way through our human resources. A fine example are academic coaches. We invest so much time and money in our academic coaches. If they leave, are we prepared to replace them? Or do we have to start with all that training and cost again? So by being in a proactive means for all of these, we will not be reacting to problems when they occur. Which brings you to the human capital. I broke them down into the segments as noted here: instructional staff, support staff, office, cafeteria facilities. I included the contracted staff services. Although they are not our employees, they still provide services to our students. We still need to feel their heartbeat as well. We need to ensure that we're using our purchase service funds in the right manner as well. And then our administration. So just a simple overview on our instructional staff certified. 70.5% of our staff have a master's degree or higher. I share that with you so you can understand the professional level of our staff. All too often, people discredit educational institutions of being a professional business. We are. Very, very highly acclaimed we are. 100% are properly certified, 98.8%, and these stats are off of last year's report card. 98.8% are highly qualified. The only reason we don't have 100% is we do every year hire new intervention specialists. They do not come out of the college highly qualified in all four core. So it's our responsibility within the year before next year, identify what areas they need and direct them for that training. Of the 36 new staff, 21 are resident educator. There's a lot of cost and time involved in managing the resident educator program. That's a state mandate. We can't get around it. We've been fortunate the last 4 years to have Race to the Top dollars to support that. Those dollars are going away after this year. This year we're spending about $50,000 on that. Very pleased to report that our minority hiring percent was at 32% this year. Over the last couple of years, the average has been around 15%, and that even is good considering average is 3 to 5% of minorities are graduating from college each year. Part of our success with this is our membership with CAMRA. If you're not familiar with CAMRA, it's the Cleveland Area Minority Educators Recruitment Association. We've been a member district for many years. I've held leadership roles at the chairperson position this year. I'm chairing the FEA committee, Future Educators of America. By our involvement there, we are expanding our abilities to identify and reach out to additional minority candidates. Our hiring percent, 7.5%, that is somewhat of a turnover rate, and in comparisons with some other districts, it's about the middle range. We prefer to have that lower. Again, that's a cost factor. Anytime you have to start training additional staff, you're getting into a cost. Our average absence rate is high, 13.4%, but I will tell you 23% of that is a result of professional development for our teachers. Again, we're Race to the Top district, so for the last 4 years, there's been a higher focus on professional development. And as I mentioned to you, we did do a survey on our new staff. And of the 36, all did respond. A majority agree or strongly agree overall that they are receiving the supports needed to succeed in Euclid. There were a couple notations in there that we will take under consideration, one being having their mentors start right from the new teacher camp, whereas we had them start about a month in. So we'll be looking at that as well. So just to give you a quick overview of the support staff, our educational assistants, they work with our special needs population. Minimum requirement for an educational assistant by state standards to be highly qualified is passing a local assessment. We provide that to them through the use of the public school works that we have. 69% of our educational assistants are above and beyond that. They either have additional college coursework, possibly an associate or a bachelor's degree, or also passing the state paraeducator's praxis exam. 69% of those staff have that, which I think is great. And they also provide some Title I assistance. The certified paraprofessionals, they monitor our alternative learning centers, and all of them have at least a substitute license or greater. And our technology and media assistants, they're the supports for the labs, and they are the first responders that help keep the technical staff focused in the classrooms and professional development in those areas. The rest of our staff constantly receive additional ongoing professional development through Public School Works. Public School Works, if you're not familiar with that, is a web-based system that we provide basic safety awareness pieces to all of the employees, also state-mandated pieces. The teachers are required to have child abuse prevention training. That is encompassed in there as well. Our school nurse, pleased to say we have a registered nurse on staff. She's been instrumental with providing some additional training for our health monitors. All of our health monitors have CPR and first aid training, and the nurse has also given them additional medicine administration and other things. Our office and technical staff, some of them have additional post-secondary training as well. And then we have the rest of our non-instructional support staff, our cafeteria, facilities, and security staff. So as you can see, we have a wide range of staff here. All of them do have constant ongoing professional development that's offered in the district, and our line supervisors, our immediate administrators, they're the ones that need to identify, where can we work with them to provide a better environment. And my job here is to, as I said, be the nucleus to each of them and provide them the insight that I have to build upon that, to ensure that we have the success for all of our students. And that is my presentation.
Thank you. Good. Does anyone have any questions?
Can we have a copy of that, your PowerPoint?
Yes.
There's a
Can I
lot of
just say,
information.
I made myself a note to make sure we have it in the packet, is that okay?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I'm a note taker. I wrote a lot of stuff down.
Okay, so we can put it in the packet, and I can also send it to you electronically too if you want. So,
That's great presentation, a lot of good information.
Thank you.
I just would like to say, because I've known you for a long time, we won't get into years.
Okay.
But you've been here as long as I have. So, and so I've seen your growth, which is tremendous, which is, I'm so delighted in. But I also am pleased to see that you are really owning the department and are putting your own stamp on it. And because you are an HR professional instead of being a teacher or principal moved into that position, I think that we can expect a lot of great things happening, and I think it's going to be really positive for our district. So I'm very happy.
Thank you.
can I just say something about that too? Because, one of the things that I feel really good about is trying to grow people. And what I was able to see in Sue was her ability to be able to articulate what you just heard tonight and be able to do that in a way that is different than if it was an educator. Because sometimes we get, we as educators have a different spiel on things and we have some biases. But when you look at it from an objective standpoint, you're going to get a different view. And she's been able to do that. And the other thing that I think sometimes we make the mistakes as educators is we believe, or some of us may believe, that in order for you to be proficient in something that you have to have this high degree. Well, I'm going to tell you that I've worked with a lot of people in HR. She knows about as much about that as anybody that I've seen with a degree. And the fact of the matter is her experience in the occupation and through the growth of that has really helped us. And what I'm really happy about tonight is I feel good when other people know what I know about our people. And we have great people here who are sometimes hidden because of other reasons. And it's just great to be able for other people to know how good our people are, because things have been working in this district before I came because you have great people. And so you have people who are dedicated, and in Sue's case, since high school, dedicated to, I wasn't throwing age or anything, since high school. And so she's been doing this for a while. So, and I just want to, last thing I just want to say, she said three things that I just want to kind of make sure we keep in mind. She mentioned several times about being proactive. We're trying to be very proactive in what we do in human capital, because outside of safety, this is the most important thing we do. Hiring our folks and making sure we have the right people in the right position. So she said that a number of times about being proactive. She also talked about the fact that we're going to measure what we do. I can't tell you how often I have asked a question about certain things that we do, but people can't tell me why we do it because we don't have any way of measuring whether it was effective or not. And so what Sue has been able to do is to try to put together for us a way of being able to track these things so we can actually measure what's going on. And then the third thing that she talked about that is significant is changing the human capital culture and being able to make it a culture of not only where we hire, but we also try to cultivate our people, try to grow our people, try to support our people so that we can continue to have succession plans that promote internally and able to do that. So those things are the things that I think resonate with what kind of work she's done. So I just hope her head didn't swell so she can get out that door. I'm just really pleased in what she's been able to do in a short period of time and really transition our human capital department into something that I think you can all be proud of.
Can I just, quick question without divulging your age, but you've been working in this area for over 20 years, correct? Has it been almost?
Over 30.
Over 30 years. So here's my question. Do we have someone in your staff or in your group that has even half the knowledge you do after 30 years?
I don't think anyone has the knowledge that I have of just the history of things here, But we are working on a plan for succession planning
That was brought up
to
twice.
replace me as well.
I was just-
And part of that brings to the slide of showing right now, there's me, and Stephanie's the HR assistant of, it's really hard to read.
Okay, I got
Of
it.
certified.
All right.
Joyce is the HR assistant classified. Since Keita left, instead of just bringing a secretary in, I don't want to say just, but instead of bringing a clerical person in, I'd like to find an HR generalist, someone with an HR background that can then start learning the system as well. And then, we can take it from there. But by bringing another person in with that same HR mindset and learning about the district to help move it forward as well.
Yeah, because I'd seen that in your slide presentation, a succession plan, and then you brought it up.
Yeah.
Do we have a plan to replace you? I mean,
Yeah.
well,
Not yet.
30 years of knowledge, having
Yeah.
lived in this community, having done what you've done for all of these years, that is crucial, valuable information that somebody else needs to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of change, I've seen a lot of growth. I say the reason our district is as strong as it is because of the commitment of the staff to begin with, because everybody wants to see success, and if they don't, they leave. But really, it's a strong community, it's a strong staff, and I think another key piece is we've always had great administrative staff support, communication there, even though, we have our hiccups, some of the horror stories that you hear in other districts, and we've just never operated that way, so.
Well, another thing you said is you provide supervising training, which I think is really important. Because a lot of people can move up through the ranks, and we see this in our company a lot. We have a lot of folks that are very good engineers, good scientists, but are not very good at managing projects or people. And, to provide that supervising training, I think is really key.
Well, all too often our managers are looking at evaluations as what'd you do good, what'd you do bad, but they're performance reviews. They're supposed to be ways to grow people. And if we can get the supervisors working with the staff in that growth manner, like Keith does with us, and start getting them to grow and see what they can grow to here versus elsewhere.
I've got a couple questions here. Of those 36 new teacher staff
Yes.
members, do we expect all 36 of them back next year at this point in time, or, is it too early to predict that?
Yes, we do. We would anticipate even hiring some. Could they resign to go somewhere else? That's always a chance, but our goal is to encourage them to stay.
No, I just didn't know if you knew of any of them who were leaving at the end of this year yet, or is this too early?
If they're going to leave, they're not going to tell us till the end.
Okay.
Kathy, what we have at this point, and members of the board at this point, is we've got those that are retiring, and so we don't have the other data there. But the question that you had is sparks another question, and we could probably get this for you. What has been our trend in the past of how many about this particular point in time?
Right.
And we can get that, because I don't know what it is. I think that's a good number for the board to have, and we can get that for you.
And then my other question with this, I know we did the new teacher camp, and this year I was lucky enough to get to come that day and see it. Is there something similar for that, like for the teachers' aides or the educational assistant, the support staff? Because I've gotten to hear out and about, it's like, how do I log into the system? I said, I don't know, it's Greek to me too. They keep saying they go to their partner teacher, and that there's no time. They're not getting that same little training. They said they feel like they're the second-class citizens of the district. And they go, and then that's when someone brought it up to me. I said, isn't there a training for you? That's when I found out there wasn't. And that's what,
Well, I will tell you, all of our new staff get that training,
okay.
but they get so much that first day. To retain all that is difficult. We are trying to look at providing something at the beginning of the year to give each of them something, but without causing an additional cost to the district.
All right.
So we're looking at that.
I just didn't know if that would make things flow a little bit easier those first couple days of school.
Yeah.
Some of it has to do with also, too, and members of the board, has to do with the fact that we tried to do some things at the convocation, but we were running into some contractual barriers because certain people didn't have to be there, some did, and if they were going to come, they had to come voluntarily, and we wanted to try to have everybody on a level playing field, so we struggled a little bit with that and how we could get everybody there. So we're looking at how we can do some things a little bit differently to try to address that. So.
But I can assure you, every employee gets that training.
Well, I'm sure they did. It's like, I know how when I go to training classes.
Yeah.
It's like you leave there and go, oh, what did I just learn? And then you go through the booklet again and go through it all. And I got to hear some of the mumblings like last fall, and I was like, I didn't know, so.
Well, and a lot changed after that as well, because in that one in-service day back in October, whenever we had that one additional training for the educational assistants, and it was fantastic. Our family liaisons put it on, and it was fantastic. And we'd love to have our family liaisons do something similar about that with our lunch staff as well.
I do want to commend you on the minority percentage hiring, because I do know that that's an issue in a lot of districts, and that finding good quality minority candidates is difficult because there's just not a lot of minorities that are going into education, and for a variety of reasons. And I hope that the FEA will help us in getting people interested again in education, because what I see just in knowing the trends and everything else is as a little more of the baby boomers are leaving, we're not going to have as many people. Everybody's going to be scrambling for teachers at that point, because there's so many. So the number of people going into education is so much less, and we're seeing an uptick in enrollment, so we definitely need them.
Again, a proactive approach, if we can get that FEA program growing.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Just one last thing too.
Sure.
Just because I'm just really impressed with how she's really embraced this position. She also mentioned the fact, and I know my board, you may have questions regarding, the 34%, the attendance, and the staff absentee piece, and the professional development part of that. Well, I just want to share with you that what we've done is look at strategies. Heather and I, we've talked as a team about how we're going to be able to do more of that in-house. A lot of that 34% that you saw with staff absenteeism has to do with them being out of the district for professional development and all that. So we have developed some strategies where we can do that in-house and do much more of that in-house, so we can reduce that. The race to the top monies that we use to support some of those things are embraced in some of those strategies, so we won't necessarily have to spend the money, but then still be able to give people the necessary support for that professional development. So I just want to let you know that we've already worked and talked about that, and we have a plan to be able to address that.
So when you talk about doing the professional development in-house instead of sending them out somewhere, does that mean like after school hours or during the day, but they get to count as being here because they physically are here?
Well, all options are on the table. We're looking at all different kinds of ways of being able to do it. What we don't want to do, and this is the double-edged sword, we don't want to take teachers away when we know we've got to deal with instruction at the degree that we have to deal with. So the closer we can keep them in that classroom, if we can take them out and do what we need to do and get them right back, it's going to make it a lot easier. So we're looking at all kinds of opportunities, either do after school, during their prep time, all kinds of ways, and then being able to have our internal staff become the facilitators, as opposed to going out to get the facilitation. We would have the expertise internally to be able to do that. So we're looking at multiple options.
How does that work with them giving up their prep period? Are they turning in blue cards, or what they do?
That was just
Right.
I'm just throwing out as an example. We would have to compensate them, obviously.
Right.
And whatever our compensation structure is, we would use. But we're just looking at different ways to be able to keep them there so we can still be able to maintain the stability of the classroom, and we don't want to lose that.
I just have one question. Do we have any kind of an organization over at the high school that's like Future Teachers of America or a FEA organization? Because I know when I grew in my high school in New York, we did.
We do. We have just very small membership. The key success to an FEA is finding an individual at the high school that has the passion to do it, because it takes time. I mean, you have to build that excitement within the staff. Scott Wilson this year is trying to revitalize it this year. Someone else, I can't remember who, was doing it last year. So we're trying.
And the Lakeshore Compact has a chapter also.
Because I know that I remember when I was in high school, I myself was not at the time focused on being an educator, but I had a lot of peers that were, and they were real involved in it. That was quite a while ago, and it was in New York State, so.
There's another district that we actually, as a member of CAMRA, had the opportunity for our advisor to go see. I went as well, that offers a vocational program, but their FEA is embedded in that. And they have the FEA Foundation based upon anyone who wants to work with youth, whether it be teaching, social work, even a physical therapist. Anyone who wants to work with youth can be a part of that organization. That gives it the numbers, gives it, and then you all have a little bit of exposure to working with youth.
Well, that was going to be my key, because when we were did FEA, it was FTA back in the day.
Yes, it was.
We actually would have some responsibilities to do, so that you felt like you were doing something. You weren't just a member of a club type of thing, but you might be the person that grades papers, or you might tutor, or you might do some things like that.
FEA is really big now in the state of Ohio, and the state organization provides a lot of support for that as well. So we just
Do they
need
do
to...
those kinds of things now?
Yeah, they do a lot more. It's amazing what they do down at that state convention.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Madam President, members of the board, the next presentation is our marketing and public relations update, and to do that, we've got the vibrant Audrey Holtzman, who will take us through her presentation.
So can I give you
I thought it was just because you were so vibrant that it took up more room.
It's just so large. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Bell, it is my privilege to present to you the Euclid City Schools Marketing and Public Relations Update. 1 year ago, we told you that we needed to expand our social media footprint. And how have we expanded that footprint? Let me give you some social stats. On Facebook, we are up 2,313 likes. We are now on Instagram. We have 209 followers, which just 2 minutes ago that changed. I think it was like 212. We have 322 followers on Twitter, which has also grown. Now it's 422. In a very short amount of time, we have increased our footprint by making our schools, all of them, available to the community on Facebook. Every school has its own building page along with a district Facebook page, and what our goal is, or has been, is to provide the community with a scrapbook of some sort. So when kids do something great, like get accepted to Kent State University, as you can see in that picture, we're highlighting it. Or when a little girl is a HAT scholar, meaning that she had no missing homework, perfect attendance, and no tardies. We want to honor those kids that are working really hard to do well. The graph right there shows growth on Facebook. Our district growth has tremendously, has exceeded tremendously. The other areas, from the high school down to the early learning center, those started at 0. Now they range from 45 is the lowest to 250 is the largest. We also told you that we wanted to redo our website, and our new site launched on August 1st in 2013, 6 short months ago. We also had a reason behind that. People were coming to visit our website, and they were bouncing quickly off of the page because they couldn't find what they needed to find. Our old bounce rate was 68.8%. We have increased or improved our bounce rate by 20.9%, which is a good stride, but we're going to strive to increase it even more. We want people to come and enjoy the site and get the information they're looking for rather than try to mess around and get frustrated and leave. On average, people spend about 2 minutes and 21 seconds on the site, which is a good indicator that sometimes, or most of the time, they are finding what they came to see. Cleveland, Cleveland Heights, Menard, Parma, Columbus, Wickliffe, Mayfield are all people that are checking us out. So something is being done right. All of those demographics are available through our Google Analytics, which we monitor quite frequently so that we know who's coming, where they're coming from, if they're using a cell phone to visit us. Those are important things for us to know. Why are those important? Well, if we know that more people are coming from their mobile phone, we need to make sure that our site is accessible from a mobile phone. Some sites aren't. Our site was designed with the intent of using a mobile phone. So when you go to Euclid City Schools on your phone, you can pull up things and it's not hard to access. But we also, for those people who don't want to go to the website, we have a mobile app that can connect you to the site there's a calendar on there, there's pictures, there's videos, lots of different things. So continuous improvements are being made to enhance the visitor experience on the website. We are trying to make sure that everything we add recognizes what our students are doing, whether it be academics, whether it be band, whether it be sports. We want everyone to see how incredible our students are and what they're doing. So you will see an increase mostly to athletics and band and the performing arts. We worked really hard. My department worked very hard with the counselors to provide counseling pages on Forest Park, the high school, and Central's parts of the website. Communications. We are using new and improved methods of communicating internally or with our contemporaries. What does that mean? Well, Euclid had the right idea. For a long time, they were using something called Daily District News, and it was sent out, and it was a way for them to communicate what was going on in the district. The only problem with that was that there was no way to monitor how many people got that information. So what we did this year, we created something called Extra. And Extra is an internal email that goes out every day, and it's full of pictures and colorful things and things that are going on in the district, student recognition activities, teacher recognition, we're recognizing new employees, all things to help promote us internally, to help us get excited about what's going on, because there are so many exciting things. The first Extra was sent out in August, and it wasn't very good in terms of our open rate. We had 19.8% of our staff open it. There's 1,029 people on that list. So it was a very small amount of people. January 17th, 2014, last week, we had 52.1% of our employees open it. So that rate increased by 32.3%. We are working on internal strategies to make sure that people want to open it or to make sure they know how to open it, because sometimes that's confusing. We have also expanded our presence in terms of social media to connect with our contemporaries onto LinkedIn. December was the first time we did this. We currently have 66 connections, but this is a way that we're trying to connect with the people that we have as employees now or people we want to have as future employees. We want them to know that we are connected on a social scale. Community engagement. We've had so much going on in the community. Kids are going to be visiting the Euclid Senior Center February 26th and March 19th. Both dates are set. I think in March, Shrek, the musical, is going to perform for them before opening day. And on the 26th, we are having middle school band and orchestra visit the Senior Center. This year, we had, for the first time ever, tree lighting volunteers at the Euclid City Tree Lighting. There were 48 volunteers from Central Middle School, Euclid High School, and Forest Park Middle School, and the city was so impressed with our kids. They worked so hard to show people to the auditorium or to show them to the bathroom. And they also helped at a craft table that we had. We made little white bags, and kids got to put stickers on them and color them, and then every goodie they got throughout the night was put in their Euclid City Schools bag, so it was really nice. Another thing that we're doing to be involved in the community is our United Way campaign called I Pledge 5. The district has asked every employee to participate in the I Pledge 5 campaign, giving $5 to the United Way because of all the things that the United Way has done for our community. Last year itself, there were 500 and almost 5,200 people that had used the United Way 211 number from Euclid. So the United Way helped a lot of our citizens, and we'd like to get back to them. The holiday dinner was something that we put on at Arbor this year. We had a little bit of low attendance. We offered busing for student comped busing for us. They picked up some families and brought them to Arbor for the turkey dinner and to see Santa Claus. So we've decided after 2 years of low attendance at that event, and even after providing transportation, that maybe it's time to switch things up. Maybe we need to look at it in a different way. Maybe an open house is more of the way to go, to have it at the Shore Cultural Center and have it, for a longer period of time and make transportation even more available through First Student again. The Euclid Athletic Facilities Foundation is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization that has been created by our business manager, Mr. Patrick Kigley. And the goal of that 501c3 is to raise money for stadium renovations and renovations to all of our athletic facilities. Our students deserve the state-of-the-art equipment because they're excellent athletes, and sometimes we lose sight of what the amazing things that they are doing when we can't have things like big games for state championship games because we don't have the proper facility. So we want to make sure that we have all those opportunities, not only for our students, but for other students to come in and play because we are right in the center of everything. The State of the Panther. Superintendent Bell promised that every 90 days he was going to update the community on the progresses and challenges of the district. Well, through conversation, through monitoring attendance, we have found out that sometimes the State of the Panther hasn't been very convenient. It's hard for parents that have children in sports, or if parents work a third shift job, to make it out to one specific night. So Superintendent Bell got together with Mayor Cervenik, and they formed a partnership, and they're going to have a television show called Connect Euclid. What the show will be is the progresses and challenges of the city and of the schools and how we work together, and hopefully we'll be able to inform residents of all the good things that are going on and some of the things that they need to know about. That will air on local channels 20 and 22 in the second week of February, so you can look forward to that. We're hoping to bring you this in a series of 6 shows that will air not only on those channels, but also we will have them posted on the website, on Facebook, on YouTube, and every other social media outlet you can imagine, because we want to come to you. We want to be in your living room. We want to be easily accessible, and we want to make sure that the information is in everybody's hands. So with that being said, this is the tip of the iceberg for marketing and public relations, and I really appreciate your time.
Okay. Any questions?
I have one.
Okay.
Last fall, we canceled the carnival that we normally have. When is that scheduled for?
We have not scheduled that yet. We would like, as we talked about before, this carnival needs to be on a grand scale. So with that being said, I think it will probably be sometime.
Let me help you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think part of why she's doesn't have an exact date, Mrs. DeAngelis, is that we're trying to make sure that we can roll out the facilities phase 2. We want to try to connect all of that, and we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight and where we are. That will give her a better opportunity as to when will be the right time to be able to put this together, because we want to try to put all of that together. So since we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah, so we're trying to tie that together. She doesn't know that yet, and we're still trying to put some of that together. Great question, because we want to tie all this together, so.
And plus, too, we have some big events going on at the high school this spring. It's a big show and graduation.
Can I give a plug for Big Show while I'm standing up here?
Sure.
The big show this year is Shrek the Musical. Join Donkey, Shrek, Princess Fiona, Lord Farquaad, and to their Kingdom of Dulat on the Euclid High School stage, March 20th through 23rd. The dates are on the website. Tickets are $8 for students and seniors and $12 for adults. So we hope to see you there.
One other thing I just want to point out too, that Audrey didn't mention that we are getting ready to do, she's put together for me, I'm going to be communicating to the district, to the community once a month through kind of a postcard. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Superintendent Bell expressed a desire to communicate through something that people can hold in their hand, something that gives people like a hard, quick glance, you can figure out a lot of stuff that's on it, and then something that has upcoming dates. So he thought that the best idea would be to print out a postcard. So our first postcard will be sent the second week in February. It is a summary or a description of the third grade reading guarantee, and it has a couple different events on the back of it, including the art show Trash It at the Euclid Library and Shrek. So go to Shrek, right? Did you hear me say Shrek?
Who is getting that postcard?
We are going to send one per each household.
Oh, students in the district?
Yes.
Okay, so,
There will be some, okay, yeah, this is a good one too. So we are going to also be delivering postcards to the city. So we're going to give Mayor Cervenik postcards. It will go to the council people. It will go to
the library?
Yes.
Okay.
There will be like stacks at the library. Casey's offered to put stuff on display or like on their tables.
Like in my case, since I don't have anybody in the district, I wouldn't get one, right? I'm just saying that there's people out there who don't have kids in our schools that still want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. And I know it's expensive. Postage is very expensive.
Well, and there's different options. Like I'm going to drop some at the senior center. I'm going to try to make them available. I just know that a mass mailing to residents.
And with that postcard too, be in all our social media stuff, like
Oh, yeah.
Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody will see it that way.
Yeah, we will definitely put that everywhere.
And just to summarize it, the purpose of it is for me to take one particular area, not put too much on it, and not make it too busy. A person can look at it, because I know people have questions about what is the third grade reading? What does that mean? So we just take one thing, we explain it. It's one of those kind of things that they could really take a look at it and discard if they wanted to, but it's just enough on there where you can get a glimpse of what's going on in the district, so it's just another way of being able to communicate. So that there's some constant conversation about some of the things. So each month will be somewhat of a different theme.
Like 3 to 5 bullet points on there
Yeah,
with
just a couple
a
of
website or something to direct people.
What's going on in the
Yeah.
district.
I mean, just because that way it gets them a taste of what it is, because I think there's a massive fear with this third grade.
I think in the other part, Mrs. Deanne, and members of the board, is the fact that I want to make sure that people know that we're communicating outside of levies, outside of all of that. We want to make sure that you know what's going on in the district, because you deserve to know, and I indicated that I wanted to do that. If this one doesn't, this way isn't getting it done, I want to keep going until we find a way to get to this information out to everybody. So we're going to continue to explore different ways of doing that.
The other part of that too is we are hoping with registration as we move forward in evolving registration, we want to get parents' email addresses. That's something that we don't have currently. So it would be a really great thing that as we go into the next couple of years to make sure that we have those email addresses so we can send them these postcards in a much more cost-effective way. But for right now, this is the best way to get information in people's physical hands. So.
It's evolving and
People
will
like
change.
physical.
Yeah, people like tangible things.
Oh, yeah.
Tangible.
And how easy would it be to bring a postcard, like throw it in your purse, and if like you see someone, oh, here, you know what I mean?
What about churches?
We can do that as well.
Churches as well.
I was going to say also, like Indian Hills Apartment and the Richmond Heights one and that Hilltop, because those are places where we do get support.
Oh, yeah.
Gateway, not like the nursing home part, but the apartments that are there. Those are people that still like to be connected with the city. A lot of them are residents, originally residents of Euclid, that are staying there. So, it would be good to stay in touch with those people.
It
Absolutely.
would be helpful if the board would help us with identifying some of those spots. If you let us know, we'll make sure that they get them.
Yeah, I would be happy to. I know Parkside Gardens has been really, like, they wanted calendars and postcards, and that's also going to be starting again. We're going to start looking for advertisements for our calendar so that we can cover the cost of sending out the district calendar. We didn't mail it last year. We passed one out to each individual family. We had one per family, so some people might have gotten two because just the dynamics of the family, but we're hoping to do that again and plan for 2014-15.
But one of those things with that postcard going out, you could have almost direct them to a website to click in that yes, they received it, or yes, they, that way you're knowing who's using it. Like we used to put, like we did the rec department once, we put a little coupon on it, on something bigger scale, put a coupon on it, and they turned that coupon in with their name in it. We knew, and then we had a drawing to see, okay, now we know this age group of people is what's using this product. And we knew where to target the next time. Or wait, we missed targeting.
Also, there are e-magnets that some of us have in our cars.
Yeah, that's a
I
lot
really
of
think that
people
we
like
need
those.
to see if we can't get those out and possibly even talk to the mayor and the city, maybe get them on some of the city cars.
Oh, I would love that.
Do we have more?
I do have more.
Because those are, I mean, I get requests all the time for those.
I do have more. That makes me really excited.
I need one for my car, by the way.
Yeah, we never
Me
have
too,
it.
if you got them.
Yeah, so, I mean, I
Absolutely.
really think that those are things that we could get out more, and I think, because when you go driving down the freeway, you do notice the stickers on people's cars, and, I'm tired of seeing everybody else's.
That was her idea.
I had my neighbor's one, but I've gotten so many requests for those magnets, yeah.
Well, the nice thing is they don't stick on your car forever. You
Right.
can take them off if you want to wash it.
And move them around and stuff.
We can definitely order more.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to ask actually number 9 before we go into executive session. Are there any other items that need to come before the board?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We will be going into executive session for negotiations and personnel. We will, including the evaluation of the superintendent, we will not be taking any action after our executive sessions. And at this time, I'll take a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive session for negotiations for personnel and evaluation of the superintendent.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Mrs. DeAngelis and seconded by Mrs. Lacey. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sudar, yes. Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Ho?
Yes.
Mrs. DeAngelis?
Yes.
Mrs. Wise?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for
Thank you,
coming.
Sue.